PDHPE Assessment 2 by Joel Walsh. The K-6 PDHPE subject aims to develop vital knowledge, understanding, skills, and attitudes for students to take positive action to protect and enhance their own and others' health, safety, and well-being in varied of changing contexts. NISA 2018. This is specified in the rationale. In my own words though, primary school PDHPE is empowering young learners to make healthier choices, to move better, that will ultimately allow them to lead a better lifestyle. I believe physical education is essential to the mental, emotional, social, and of course physical well-being of students. This is because of the dynamic nature of health today, where environments are rapidly changing upon us. PDHPE can enhance the resilience and connectedness of those that are immersed, which is fully supported by the objectives set out in the syllabus. For example, under knowledge and understanding, it states, demonstrates an understanding of strategies that promote a sense of personal identity and build resilience and respectful relationships, NISA 2018. It is evident that the benefits of physical education are not confined to the sports field and that the intrapersonal skills that can be developed are invaluable to an education program. Evaluating the game sense approach. One of the most satisfying aspects of studying whilst teaching is the opportunity to engage with new approaches and pedagogies by building up that theoretical understanding of the concept and then incorporating it into your craft at school. The game sense approach by Light and Mooney 2014 has been a focus during the PDHPE unit. GSA is a child-centered approach that enhances engagement by being fun and enjoyable, but maintains the interest through maximizing participation of all learners. The core features of the game sense approach include learning is shaped and contextualized with activities centered on enjoyment and decision-making, and relies on the teacher's questioning to stimulate thinking and intellectual engagement. This approach dives far deeper into the learner than how well they execute a skill or what physical capabilities they can express. The GSA links to two of the PDHPE's propositions which underpin the entire syllabus. They are strengths-based approach and value movement, NESA 2018. Game Sense, Light and Mooney 2014, enables physical education sessions to be more appropriate for the learner through games and activities rather than traditional competitive sports like basketball or soccer. This approach values movement and participation in a holistic way by appreciating and enjoying physical activity. GSA can also incorporate a wider variety of skills and demands by calling on decision-making, questioning, and strategy gains that work towards the strengths of a larger number of students, rather than reinforcing the sporty kids always do well stigma. I believe that the game sense approach is a highly beneficial method for enhancing the delivery and experience of PDHPE in the primary context. It is a method that I will definitely adopt into my teaching pedagogy, as I believe providing a positive experience for all learners is a core tenet in the role of a teacher. Reflecting on Tutorial 1, Week 1, I naturally felt excited to engage with a PE unit. People have always assumed that I'm studying to be a high school PE teacher, and so are obviously shocked when I tell them I'm the opposite. Week 1 was a very foundational lesson that covered what PE is, which I understand as healthier choices, better movements to lead a better lifestyle, which we learnt isn't the current state of PE in Australian kids. They scored a D-. The 12 fundamental skills, 3 developmental stages, and an introduction to the 5 propositions were the main theoretical focuses that I now understand underpin PDHPE delivery. The first 2 I had heard enough about to contribute to class discussion, more so because of my basic fitness qualifications and years of playing semi-professional sports. The 5 propositions were foreign, but even by the name, I was intrigued to learn more. Valuing movement and strengths-based approach were the 2 I quickly comprehended and could visualize how I already exhibit these principles in my teaching today. I enjoyed the class discussion that Yasmin engaged us in. I felt I contributed my thoughts well based on my valuable experiences with delivering and participating in physical activity or education. Now I felt confident in my ability to do well in this unit based on how I walked out of the class in Week 1. Theory Lesson 2. Looking back on Tutorial Lesson 2, it was definitely the most pivotal lesson that a pre-service teacher could attend. We unpacked the syllabus, its content, the strands of PE, and identified the role that the 5 propositions have in the new PDHPE curriculum. I now know this is a holistic approach. I now understand how content across the curriculum in PDHPE is interconnected, and that also enables students to develop an understanding of their own identities by addressing contemporary issues that they will face, and these are cross-curriculum priorities. Theory Lesson 2 helped to highlight the presence of more traditional KLAs within PDHPE, showing the subject does not just demand physical capabilities, but is a valuable tool for enhancing the literacy, numeracy, and creative capacities of learners. I believe that this lesson could shift the views of traditional teachers today that do neglect PE on the basis that they believe it possesses minimal educational value. The lesson provided me with some simple examples of where exactly I can link other KLAs to PDHPE, which provide a more holistic and well-rounded lesson. I enjoyed listening to other students' contributions to questions, and I felt some of their perceptions were beginning to shift in a positive way, but I was also shocked to see how many of the class had actually experienced poor physical education growing up. This led me to one of the 5 propositions, the strengths-based approach, NESA 2018. As we learn, health and participation in PE are shaped by structural constraints, and that we must, as pre-service teachers, continue to move away from a deficit model that blames these individuals. I heard 2 girls at my table speak to their damaging experiences of primary PE and can now identify how beneficial the strengths-based approach could have been in changing their experiences of exclusion and self-doubt. It values the individual's capabilities and brings the PE lesson closer to their level by optimizing their skills in different activities that a PE teacher can promote their inclusion, and that is necessary for quality PE delivery. I developed as an educational professional because of these lessons, because of the lesson's thorough unpacking of the syllabus components that for me connected what was on the whiteboard to the real PE scenarios. Practical 1, it's my time to shine. I was eager to participate in the AFL practical lesson. It is often neglected in Western Sydney because of its Melbourne origination, and rugby league dominates primary school sports settings. I wanted to improve in my ability to teach the game from a technical level, making the game more accessible for students totally foreign to it. The AFL representatives were great at breaking each component down and linking it back to a teaching scenario relevant for us. I found the invasion games and change it approach as my 2 key takeaways that have helped me develop my professional ability. Their implementations of Change It highlighted to me a much simpler way of differentiating, which is something I've struggled with both in the classroom and during practical lessons. The approach contains 7 differing methods for adapting to ensure all students across the spectrum are engaged and participating regardless of their level. I believe, though, I was overconfident at the beginning of this prac lesson, and this inhibited my ability to absorb all of the learning that occurred right at the start. However, once we began to play the activities, I quickly saw how much room for growth there was in me, not only in the skill component, but working with my peers. I immediately brought myself back to a student mindset, and this is where I began to really enjoy the process of learning these skills. The AFL providers emphasised a lot of team-based work and collaborative effort, which is obviously the backbone of a sport like AFL. And this was the aspect of the session that I will adopt into my own pedagogy moving forward. I utilised the session from this point to positively reinforce the peers around me and practice teaching those that have different ability levels. Overall, the practical lesson 1 proved very useful for my professional development and provided me not only with some key teaching tools, but important opportunities to build upon them. Reflecting on my professional development and experience of the PDHPE Practical Lesson 2, I found it to be an enjoyable way to consolidate delivering AFL. We first covered assessment tools, the resources available like the off-field modules, the incursion model, engage, experience, educate, compete, and how to incorporate an AFL-friendly rubric to the classroom or PE lesson. I learned how to use the rubric to inform assessment and refine practice for learner needs with AFL-friendly language. I further developed myself professionally by engaging with the AFL-centered skills that I can adopt into the classroom. These include teaching leadership, resilience, team-based actions, and mistake-making. The second portion of the lesson was outdoors and practical. We were divided into groups and allocated a skill game to facilitate and teach. During this session, we also participated in the other group's activities, which was a very engaging way of learning through doing. It was then unmissable how and why some groups were successful in teaching a smooth session and why others struggled. What I took away from my participation was that the simpler instructions and layout of activities made for a better experience. I felt Group 2 did a great job of this. I also better understand the variety of ways a teacher can creatively differentiate but still maximize engagement. The AFL providers did a great job in presenting us with practical tips to modify activities, and once it was our turn, I ensured that the girls had differentiation options. I still feel though I struggle with good differentiation when regressing an activity that is based on execution, but what this unit has highlighted to me is that the core aim of PDHPE in schools is to enhance participation of students of all levels and just provide them with a positive experience that does not push them to become an elite athlete. Participating in the activities provided me with the perspective of what a young learner would be like if they did experience PE for just enjoyment and being healthy and active, which is not something I had ever considered before. I believe my PDHPE teaching and overall pedagogy benefited greatly from my experience of this unit and what we did in Prac Lesson 2. My overall reflection of the subject experience and where I'm at now. The PDHPE subject is something I've always thoroughly enjoyed and had positive experiences of. The theoretical underbelly of the curriculum was an area of the subject I had little knowledge and understanding about. I already carried the opinion that PE is a highly valuable curriculum area, and upon completing the majority of this unit's requirements, feel so much better equipped to deliver a holistic PE experience that enhances the well-being of the learner. I have learnt that physical education does not start and end on the field and can be delivered and experienced in a wide variety of ways. I found the initial lessons dissecting the syllabus very useful for my later work in Assessment 1, and the 5 propositions, NESA 2018, have become now indicators that drive my teaching. The 2 practical sessions were both positive and beneficial experiences for my development and have provided me the opportunities to refine the skills that were taught. Pedagogical approaches like Game Sense, Light and Mooney 2014 have helped inform my teaching for the future by first gaining the knowledge beneath it and then being afforded the opportunity to practice it. I aim to create a space for learning that is engaging, positive and inclusive for each and every student in the room, and the GSA model provides a blueprint for this. Not every individual is immersed with sport and physical activity throughout their life, and as an adult student now, this unit has given me the knowledge and pedagogical skills to deliver PDHPE appropriate for their individual participation. I am eager to deliver more PDHPE in the future with my improved pedagogy and well-rounded PE theory base that I now possess. Thank you.